Hello, everyone, and thank you for attending the Premier Cooperative Virtual Job Fair event. I would like to introduce you to Amanda and Jessica. Amanda and Jessica will tell you about their company, job openings, and how to apply for those openings. Amanda and Jessica.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Premier Cooperative's Virtual Job Fair. The things we will be covering today are some information about Premier Cooperative, including who we are and what we do, our history, culture, benefits, job openings, how to apply, what happens after that, and then we will take some questions.
Premier Cooperative is serving today and preparing for tomorrow through our values. We believe in integrity, safety, innovation, customer service, food security, leadership, and teamwork. Through living these values every day, Premier Cooperative is one of Illinois' leading agribusiness cooperatives. Premier Cooperative provides great services and high-quality energy products to producers in 5 counties. Our goal is to enhance the business of our farmer owners while supporting the communities in which we all live and work. With our network of railroads, highways, and 26 storage facilities, we're an important force for providing energy and grain to the domestic and global food economy.
So there are lots of small details about Premier Cooperative, and if you can see that little picture to the left, it kind of goes through all of that. But to keep things short and sweet, Premier Cooperative emerged over the course of many years and combined cooperatives. In 2009, Fisher Farmers Grain and Coal Company and Grand Prairie Co-op, Inc. consolidated to form Premier Cooperative. In 2017, Premier purchased 3 more grain elevators, making it a total of 26 locations throughout central Illinois. In 2019, Premier Cooperative celebrated 10 years of business.
Premier Cooperative has always emphasized that outstanding people are the key to our success. Our strength and future growth depend on the contributions made by each person within our organization. We are looking to you to contribute to Premier Cooperative's success. We are committed to giving you the tools and support you need, and our hope is that you will give us your best in return. Together, we will provide outstanding service to our customers, supporting the communities in which we all live and work.
Premier Cooperative has some great benefits for employees, including one of the best paid time off packages available in this area. Employees earn and can use as they go, as their time is accrued and available each pay period. For employees working between 1 and 9 years, they will earn 4 weeks of PTO a year. Employees with Premier 10 years and over earn up to 5 weeks of PTO a year. You do have the option to cash out any hours over 160 that you've earned, and you also can carry over up to 80 hours a year. Premier Cooperative also offers 8 paid holidays a year with no waiting period to be paid. Our medical plan is a PPO through Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. Our dental is through Mutual of Omaha. Vision is through VSP. And we also have incredibly competitive rates on our monthly insurance premiums. Premier pays for short-term disability, AD&D, and group term life of $30,000 for each employee. Employees can also sign up for flex spending accounts for their medical or dependent care through BPC. Our 401k plan is offered through Fidelity, and Premier matches 100% up to 3%, and employees are immediately vested in the plan. Once a year, Allstate comes and offers all of our employees voluntary benefits for accident, cancer, and critical illness. Benefits go into effect at the beginning of the month following the first day of employment.
So there are many perks of working at Premier Cooperative, and some of those include our numerous opportunities for employee relations. Before COVID, we hosted an annual summer event recognizing the hard work put in every day by both our member owners and employees. We throw an annual holiday party for all of our full-time employees to enjoy a night of camaraderie with dinner, drinks, and fun. And this year, we held our first annual holiday office decorating contest, and we awarded our best dressed location with a pizza party and a prize. We also publish a monthly employee newsletter where each month we feature a different exceptional employee, and that is nominated by their peers for recognition. We also have a very active social media presence. We use Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, as well as regular blog posting to our website. So we are always looking to highlight our standout employees for public recognition. You should really visit our Facebook page and give us a like.
So here are our current positions that we do have available. There are several entry-level elevator operator positions. These are a great place to start with Premier Cooperative. We have openings at our Dewey, Jamaica, Sydney, and Tolono elevators. We have a skilled mechanical maintenance electrician position available in Tolono, as well as a fuel truck delivery specialist opening. Finally, we have a location manager position opening in Dewey.
The elevator operator 1 position is considered an entry-level position. These usually start out at $14 to $15 an hour based on prior experience, though none is required. Essential job duties include working outside in many types of weather, loading and unloading grain by truck and rail cars, maintaining and monitoring inventory quality and condition throughout drying, aeration, and blending processes as directed by the supervisor. Also must have the ability to work independently while maintaining a courteous, polite, and helpful attitude with team members, customers, vendors, and contractors. Abiding by all safety and environmental policies is also required. Qualifications include high school diploma or a GED preferred, grain experience is a plus, willing to work extended hours, weekends and holidays during peak seasons, ability to climb on a regular basis with no fear of heights, possess a high degree of accuracy and attention to detail, and basic mechanical aptitude. Please remember, we have 4 of these positions currently available at different locations.
The Maintenance 3 electrician is considered a highly skilled position and salary is based on experience. To give you an idea of the essential job duties, I will cover a few here, which include the ability to perform preventative maintenance as needed, locating problems by observing mechanical devices in operation, work with grain elevator dryers, drive, and conveying systems, as well as electrical and control systems, hydraulics, hoists, and jacks. The ability to weld, fabricate, and install industrial equipment is also required. Must possess the ability to read technical manuals and blueprints, construct foundations for machines, cut and weld metal to repair broken parts, fabricate new parts, and disassemble and reassemble equipment. Qualifications are a high school diploma or GED preferred, at least 3 years experience with grain operations and handling equipment, prior welding classes, courses, or experience, including electrician experience, is required, the ability to refer to OSHA grain handling standards for repair and maintenance, willing to work extended hours, weekends, and holidays during peak season, ability to climb on a regular basis with no fear of heights, a high degree of accuracy and attention to detail, basic mechanical aptitude, and the ability to work under time constraints.
Our fuel truck delivery specialist is considered another skilled position, and salary is based on experience. Essential job duties include driving an assigned vehicle and daily delivery of fuel in accordance with rules and regulations of the Illinois Department of Transportation. Daily delivery of refined fuels such as gas and diesel, and monitoring of customer refined fuel tanks to homes, businesses, and farms. Perform daily inspection and routine maintenance, including the appearance of the vehicle, and take care of the assigned vehicle. Completion of delivery tickets for accurate billing. Build strong positive relationships with the customer base. Qualifications for this position include a high school diploma or GED, CDL Class A or B with a clean driving record, hazmat, tanker, and air brake endorsements are required. A minimum of 1 year bobtail or straight truck driving experience is also required, and previous bulk liquid experience is preferred.
The location manager in Dewey is a management salaried position with direct reports. The essential job duties include customer satisfaction, promotion and practice of all safety policies and educating employees on those, overseeing daily activities of the facility to anticipate any problems and ensure smooth operation, scheduling of staff and assigning duties, monitoring grain quality and inventory shrink, provide and document training, approve biweekly payroll for direct and indirect reports. Qualifications include high school diploma or GED preferred, 3 years of grain handling experience, demonstrated leadership skills, problem solving, and organizational skills that promote teamwork and a mentoring relationship with the team. Willing to work extended hours, weekends, and holidays during peak season, ability to climb on a regular basis with no fear of heights, a high degree of accuracy and attention to detail, basic mechanical aptitude, and basic grain marketing experience. Please remember, these descriptions are not an all-inclusive list. Please visit our jobs page online for a full description of the essential job duties, qualifications, and physical requirements of each position before applying.
So after that in-depth look at all of our open positions, you're probably wondering now how to actually apply. To apply, go to Premier Cooperative's website at www.premiercooperative.net. Click on About Us, and in the drop-down list, choose Job Listings.
This will take you to a new page listing all available positions. You would choose which position you would like to apply to. In this example, I am applying to the elevator operator position at our Jamaica location.
Once you've clicked on the position you would like to apply to, you can read the full job description, essential job duties, qualifications, and physical demands. If you would like to continue to apply, click Apply for this position.
Please make sure to fill in all of the required information. Some positions require a resume to be uploaded while others do not. Once you've filled everything in, click Submit at the bottom of the page to make sure your application is submitted.
What happens next? Once you've submitted your application, it will go to the hiring manager. If they would like you to come in for an interview, they will give you a call. You will interview at the location you applied to work at. If you are offered a position, it will be contingent on passing a drug and background screen. Human Resources would be in touch to send an offer letter and a link to your electronic onboarding.
And now we've come to our question portion of our presentation. If anyone would like to submit any questions, Jessica and I will do our best to answer them.
Fantastic. Thank you both for your presentation. Again, as Amanda just stated, we're going to go ahead and transition into the Q&A portion of the event here. So please feel free, if you do have any questions for the Premier Cooperative team, please feel free to enter those into the chat. We'll get those answered for you as soon as possible. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and ask the Premier Cooperative team just some standard questions that I do have. Amanda, can you go ahead and answer a few questions?
Sure thing.
Fantastic. So can you elaborate on how long your hiring process typically takes from the point of submitting an application to actually being extended a formal offer for hire?
Sure. Now, and that actually is kind of based on the position. Now, the elevator operator 1 positions, those usually move a little bit faster. So from the time someone applies to the time someone reaches out to them to have them come in for an interview is usually within a week. Then the person would actually go in for their interview with at the site with the location manager. If everything goes well and the location manager would like to move forward with everything, they would then hear from me with the offer letter and then the instructions on how to go about their drug screening and their background screening. And then we just wait for that to come back, which generally just takes a few days. Once that's all back, we normally settle on a start date and then go from there. So usually with the elevator operator positions, those usually I would say from start to finish might take maybe 2 to 3 weeks. Now the more skilled positions, those usually take a little longer. I mean, I would say all total with something there would maybe take a month or more. For some of those positions, they do like to have people come in for a second interview. And usually that's maybe with a higher level manager or myself and before those offers are made.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. And I know you did briefly mention the background checks are performed, but what I was going to ask is, for that background check process, a question that I receive quite a bit with, folks that are on my calls is, would misdemeanors or minor offenses or things of the like, would those be, disqualifying factors for folks who might be interested in employment with Premier Cooperative?
No, absolutely not. We really, as far as those, don't take minor misdemeanor charges into account. I mean, if for some reason maybe there was multiple charges over the course of time, I may have, an interactive conversation with that person. A lot of times I know, people have situations that go on in their lives that, circumstances aren't that great and those circumstances change and they're making a change. So I'm definitely willing to, discuss that further, but it's absolutely not an automatic disqualification.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Amanda. And for any of the positions that you covered here today, are there any sort of base educational requirements that folks need to possess in order to go ahead and apply for those positions?
Which I think we mentioned in all of the postings, like we do prefer a GED or a diploma, but it's not a deal breaker if somebody does not have that, especially not for the entry level positions. The skilled mechanical positions and truck driving and things, I think we covered that in each of those. And I'll try to just from memory, but for you'd have to possess a CDL Class A or B and have specific truck driving training. As well as with the electrician, mechanical, on the job, if they've got on the job experience, I would say at least 5 years in that department that we would take a look at that. But those are more for the higher level positions. I mean, even with our management position that we've got posted currently, we don't require a bachelor's degree or anything like that. We just say that we prefer a GED or a diploma. Sometimes some of our higher level management positions, we do require that, but we always make sure that that is listed in the qualifications required in the job posting on our website.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Amanda. And of course, as you all can imagine, a question that I receive frequently on a lot of these job fairs is how is your organization handling COVID safety precautions? And then kind of building off of that, another question that I receive quite often is, do you all offer things such as virtual interviewing?
We, as far as the COVID the safety procedures, we do have all of those in place, and we have pretty much since the very beginning. We're spread out over 26 locations, so probably the most people that we have in a building are at corporate. So kind of back when everything started, we did have most everyone at the corporate office work from home. And that actually took place from around March when it all kind of broke loose until about middle of July. And then we still have some people that we allowed to work from home just to kind of keep people spaced out, not within 6 feet of each other. We do require masks if you are within 6 feet. We do provide those for employees if they need one. At our offices, it's restricted entry. Just for specific purposes. Usually there's only maybe 1 or 2 people that work in the office, while the remainder of the employees do work out, outside on the grounds at the elevator, as well as in the elevators. And again, if they're within 6 feet, we require that they wear a mask, especially, or if they were riding in the car together to go from one location to another. We do provide hand sanitizer. We've, like I said, tried to take every precaution that we possibly can since the very beginning of this, and we've actually been very lucky in that we've had very few people who have actually come down positive with COVID. And then we are actually kind of lucky that we're considered essential workers because we're in the agricultural industry, so we were able to already offer our employees the ability to go in and get their vaccinations. So that was really exciting. And then I'm so sorry, Daniel, would you remind me the second part of the question?
Yeah, no worries. The second
Okay.
one that I receive on a frequent basis is, do you allow for the option, or at least in parts of the process, for virtual interviewing?
Now we've actually not we've done all in-person interviewing. We kind of weren't doing interviewing at all there for a while. Not to say that we wouldn't consider doing that if someone would feel more comfortable. We do have the capability. It's similar to Zoom. It's called 8x8 that we use for virtual meetings, that we use while a lot of us were out of the corporate office. So I mean, if someone would feel more comfortable maybe doing an initial interview that way, we could definitely arrange that. But really, for the most part, at our offices, we've got enough space where there's usually a meeting area, and that way the manager can kind of sit on one end of the table, very far away from the interviewee, and then that way they can even both wear masks and they're not in close quarters. So we've been able to continue to do in-person interviews like that. And I think a lot of the reason for that's important is that we want people to be able to see the facility that they're going to be working at, so that they do have a clear understanding of exactly what it looks like, what, where they're going to be working, what to expect. So that's kind of the purpose behind that.
Excellent. Thank you for that response, Amanda. Another question that I have for you is, could you kind of elaborate a little bit more on the shifts that you all, typically work, and or if there's a particular shift that you're seeking to hire for these positions? And then building off of that, what does a typical day look like working for Premier Cooperative?
Well, for the most part, our shifts are normally all day. We don't run like, it's not like a manufacturing facility where we have a first, second, and a third. It's usually, it ranges depending on what's going on, but normally it's more of a 7 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Situation. And again, that kind of depends too on the position, the role, like the elevator one operator positions. Those are all days, but now I have to say that there are times like when there's trains that need to be loaded and things like that, that do come up where they may have an employee come in later in the day to help load that train, and sometimes those do go overnight. So not to say that doesn't happen. I mean, it's not a normal shift or a norm. A lot of times we have employees volunteer to do that. I mean, and some will even work all day and then still stay and load at night, which we didn't mention in our presentation. But one thing I think that makes us an employer of choice is we offer overtime at any hours after 8 in a day, as well as overtime after 40 hours in a week. So a lot of people like that opportunity to get that extra overtime in. We don't do a lot of weekends, this time of year, but now harvest, I do have to say, obviously is our busiest part of the year when all the crops are coming in from the fields, and people will definitely be working long days, a lot of times 12-hour days, sometimes, 6 or 7 days a week. Obviously if they volunteer to do that, there's a lot of opportunity for overtime. But now the normal workday is, 7 to 4:30. A typical day at Premier, again, our locations are, for the most part, kind of remote, rural locations. They're out at elevators, grain elevators, where there's, offices, depending on your position. And we talked about 4 different ones here. An elevator operator's typical day would mostly be spent outside. So like, when trucks come to dump their grain, or train cars need loaded with grain or unloaded, they're going to be outside. So, they are in the elements. A lot of, scooping and moving of grain and monitoring it, and making sure, their surroundings are safe and kept clean and things like that. They may be in and out a little bit during the day, but for the most part outside, maybe a little bit out. We have shops, maintenance shops out there. They may be in there. So it's kind of a typical day for an elevator operator. Our fuel delivery specialists, they spend probably, the majority of their day in their truck, and they are delivering fuel, out to farms and homes and things like that. So, a lot of times they'll be in their truck, but they'll get to visit with our customers. When they get there to deliver the fuel and speak with them, they interact with corporate office, they interact with people at the elevators. Now a manager position, the location manager at Dewey, now that person would mainly be focused on Dewey, just Dewey alone, and just building the relationships with our customers that come in. They oversee all of the elevator operator positions that are working at that location. If there's, just any sort of managerial duty that you can think of, kind of as well as jumping in and helping, with things if need be, if they're, need help loading or whatever. And then our other position, the maintenance 3, now that position is got a home base, but now for the most part, the maintenance people are expected to travel to different locations, just pretty much wherever they are needed. So like if any mechanical problem would come up in an elevator, depending on, who's in the area, that person may be asked to go to another elevator to work on equipment at that. But really the most part, their day is preventative maintenance on machinery, checking for problems, issues, just normal mechanical electrician type duties. But again, they are at grain elevator locations, so you're dealing with a little office building, and then the grain elevator and all of the moving parts that come with that.
Thank you so much for that detailed and thorough response, Amanda. I
Sure.
do have an additional question for you. How can a
Okay.
candidate stand out and get an interview, assuming they are qualified for the position in which they are applying? Is there anything that you suggest they highlight on a resume or perhaps during an interview?
Really, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, like I think the managers at Premier are just looking for people that are ambitious, they have a good attitude, are willing to take on, whatever is asked as far as work. Those are the things they're looking for. I mean, especially with the elevator positions, we don't even necessarily require that somebody does have prior grain elevator experience because that is such a niche market. There's not that's not everywhere. So just somebody that shows that they've got a good, steady, solid work history. That they're willing to, if they've never done anything like that before, just that they've got like I said, a good attitude, a willingness to learn, a willingness to help other people.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Amanda.
Sure.
And another question that I do have for you, since a lot of the positions that you did cover here today are kind of physical or labor oriented in nature, is can you kind of describe what the work attire would be like, and then building off of that, a question that I receive frequently for say the transportation warehousing jobs that I hold events for is, are there any sort of clothing allowances that your organization provides for your employees?
You know what? I'm glad, Daniel, that you brought that up, and I wish that we would have added that to the slideshow because I think that's another thing that makes us an employer of choice is that we do offer all of our employees a clothing allowance annually. All of our indoor office employees are allowed $150 a year, and our outside employees are given $350 a year. They do order company apparel through, it's called UniFirst, if you've ever heard of them. They're our uniform company, and we do have multiple options for employees to choose from. The outdoor personnel do have their own clothing that they are required to wear. We do require at the elevators, if you work in an outside role, you do have to wear high-vis clothing. So high-vis t-shirt, sweatshirt, jacket. But then we also have all these different offerings of jeans on our website, as well as like work pants, a lot of different options that people have to pick from. And then the office apparel obviously is like polos and things like that. We don't require that if they work outside, they can't buy anything like that, from their allowance that they want to wear outside, or if they want to purchase more, they're welcome to do that too. But they do get that allowance annually. So, if somebody's been here for a while and they've stocked up on their, high-vis shirts and pants and things, they can get them a nice heavy winter coat, things like that. So that for outside, we do require that. Now, inside personnel management, we're very casual. Jeans are fine. Jeans, polos, comfortable shoes. It's not super fancy or like a high level corporate dress or anything, but just nice, like I said, jeans, polo, things like that are fine for our office people.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Amanda. Then another
Sure.
question that I have for you is kind of building off of that. It's a little bit of an odd one, but believe it or not, it's one that I receive frequently on my events. And that question is, do you have any restrictions on tattoos, hair color, or piercings?
That is a great question, and no, really, for the most part, that's not something um, we've ever had a problem with. I mean, and facial piercings or ear piercings or anything like that. I mean, the biggest thing would be a safety concern, but I mean, really, for the most part, again, elevator operators and things like that aren't working around any kind of heavy machinery that's like got, moving parts and things like that. So, I mean, and like hair color, yeah, no, I really don't think any of that is really taken into account. I mean, obviously, we like people that when they come for their interview to have a nice, neat appearance, but tattoos or piercings or colored hair, I don't think has a factor in our decision making in our hiring.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Amanda. And I
Sure.
just do want to reiterate, if there are any folks still on the call that want to ask questions for the Premier Cooperative team, please feel free to enter those into the chat. We'll get those answered for you ASAP. In the meantime, Amanda, I do have one additional question to ask you before we kind of begin wrapping things up. That question is, what are the opportunities for advancement within your organization? And then are there any particular success stories that you might like to highlight for the folks who either are still on the call or will be tuning in at a later time?
I would say that there is absolutely room for advancement within Premier. In fact, many of our employees start with our company as elevator operator one and have moved up through those ranks into superintendent and office manager positions. Not to highlight one name that sticks out, but I mean, like I said, I know that there are actually multiple employees that are within our company that have done that. And then, our highest level positions are like our regional operations managers. Those oversee, north and south, west and east regions. So there's a lot of room for growth. I mean, if you start out as an elevator operator, you have the opportunity, if you wanted to go all the way up to a regional manager, or eventually, even higher, if you wanted to, go back and get schooling or anything like that, there's our, CEO positions and things like that come available once in a while. But absolutely, I would say that there's a lot of room for growth within our company, and our company itself is growing. So I think now is an opportune time for anyone looking for an opportunity to start small and go as far as they want to. Definitely now would be the time for them to join Premier.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Amanda. And it doesn't look like we got any additional questions in the chat. So I do want to provide you with kind of a final opportunity to provide any sort of summary or concluding remarks that you'd like to, cover anything that, maybe came up when we were, during the course of our discussion, if there was anything that maybe struck a chord or a light bulb went off. I don't know if there's anything like that you'd like to cover, or just anything you'd like to reiterate before we end the session here today.
Really, I think all the questions, thank you for asking those, by the way. They highlighted some things that I had forgot about. But I do feel like Premier Cooperative is definitely employer of choice. We try to be very competitive. We're small, but we're growing. And I think that what's nice about us being so small like that is while, it's a professional atmosphere, it's also very much a family atmosphere. And we really care about each other and, all of our coworkers and their families that we work with. And we just invite people to take the opportunity to apply for the positions that we have available. So, thank you to everyone so much for joining us today. Jessica and I really enjoyed getting to tell all of you about Premier Cooperative, and hopefully we look forward to working with some of you.
Fantastic. And I'd like to thank both Jessica and Amanda for the presentation today. Very wonderful, very thorough, very insightful and detailed. So thank you both. I'd like to also thank the folks who attended the session here. I do want to make note that the session has been recorded and it will be uploaded to Illinois WorkNet YouTube channel later this afternoon. Once it has been uploaded on the YouTube channel, it will be also added to the Premier Cooperative employer booth later this afternoon as well. So if there's anything here that you want to reference at a later date during the application process, please feel free to check again either the WorkNet YouTube channel or Premier Cooperative's employer booth, and this video will be linked there, and you'll be able to again review everything that was covered here today. So thank you to the folks at Premier Cooperative. I hope you all have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend.
Thank you so much. You too.